Alright, this is the last part of section 9.1. This is called rationalizing the denominator. And so that's what we do whenever we have a square root in the denominator. We can never have square roots in the denominator, so we have to get rid of it. And so the way that we get rid of it is we take that square root and we're going to multiply it on the top and on the bottom of my original problem. So I'm just going to copy the problem. I'm going to take the denominator and I'm going to multiply it on top and on bottom. So I'm not changing anything because square root of 2 over square root of 2 is 1. So if I'm multiplying by 1, I'm not changing anything. But this is going to help me get rid of that radical that's in the bottom. So I'm going to multiply the two numbers on top. So the square root of 1 times the square root of 2 is going to give me 1 square root of 2. And then my denominator is square root of 2 times square root of 2. That's just going to give me 2. And then that's it. That's my answer. I got rid of the square root that was in the bottom. That's my answer. Okay, so same thing for example 2. Very easy. Can I have a square root on the bottom? So I'm going to have to take the square root of 5 and I'm going to multiply it top and bottom. And so I'm going to multiply this 2. So 3 square root of 5, do not multiply those two numbers. 3 is outside, 5 is inside. So all that you do is you put them together. And then on the bottom, square root of 5 times square root of 5, that's just going to give me 5. And then that's it. That's my answer. It's already simplified. This one's already simplified. So this next one I'm going to have to simplify. And you'll see why. So for this one, again, square root of 2 can't have that there. So I'm going to take it, multiply it on the top, multiply it on the bottom. So on top, 14 times the square root of 2 is 14 square root of 2. On the bottom, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. And so now I have to simplify. The two numbers that are outside the radical are 14 and 2. I gotta divide. So 14 divided by 2, that's 7. So my answer is 7, and then the square root of 2 stays next to it. Okay, same thing's gonna happen in example 4. I have square root of 14 in the bottom. I'm trying to get rid of it, so I'm gonna take that, do the same thing, multiply it top and bottom. 2 times the square root of 14 is 2 square root of 14. And then bottom square root of 14 times square root of 14 is just 14. And I have to simplify 2 over 14, so that reduces to 1 over 7. And so the square root of 14 has to stay on top next to the 1. So this is my answer. Or you might see it as just square root of 14 on top and the bottom the 7. Remember, the 1 is not necessary, so you could just leave it like this. And in the last example, example 5, for this one is actually a lot easier than the other ones, because if you notice, both of my numbers are already perfect squares, and so if they're perfect squares, you can skip this whole process. Square root of 64 is perfect, it gives me 8. On the bottom, square root of 100, also perfect, that gives me 10. And so now I just simplify this. I can divide both numbers by 2. And so 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my simplified answer is 4 over 5.